When you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die. And according to Maisie Williams, she didn't win, despite Arya Stark surviving to the end of the show. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. Maisie Williams, who played Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, recently did an interview with the Sunday Times talking about how Game of Thrones has kind of held back her career. It's hampered her career because playing one character for so long was really difficult for her. Now, I've actually seen a few articles and interviews in the past where it's not that she regrets playing it, but she speaks a little bit negatively about her time in Game of Thrones. And I feel like she should be grateful. Being on Game of Thrones, being on a big show on HBO, that brought spotlight to her. That brought eyes to her, attention to her. It made her, I'm not going to say a household name, but it certainly made her relevant. It certainly allowed her to get other positions, in my opinion, and to get other roles and to be in contention for these roles, despite Maisie Williams saying that being in Game of Thrones actually made it more difficult for her to obtain future projects. I'm going to disagree. I think if she wasn't in Game of Thrones, then she would have found it even more difficult to get roles in the future because nobody would have knew who she was. But during this interview with the Sunday Times, she was being asked about the difficulties finding her identity after the popular show. And she said, quote, "I was so lost for so long, and I knew that I was. And when I couldn't pin down what I felt my identity was within that, it brought me a lot of discomfort. I found it really hard to land roles that in a world like the New Look because of the Arya Stark character." End of quote. Now, she's saying that she found it difficult to get roles because she played the one character. Now, when you actually look at it, I'm not saying that she's right, but when you look at a lot of popular shows, sometimes the person that plays the main character, even when the show is finished, they don't tend to go on and have great careers. Now, maybe she's got a point. Maybe playing the one character for a certain period of time, a prolonged period of time, maybe it can have a negative effect. If you look at The Walking Dead, for example, Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes, hasn't really done much during the show, which I guess is understandable because he had to commit a lot of time to The Walking Dead. But even after The Walking Dead, he hasn't really went on to hit big heights. Whereas you maybe look at other characters, I think the one that sticks out the most is John Bernthal, who played Shane. He was in it for 2 seasons, 2 great seasons, had an amazing time playing Shane Walsh, was stood out, and then after that he got a lot of roles and his career has went forward. Whereas Andrew Lincoln, he's going to be just known, I think, forever as the guy that played Rick Grimes, whereas someone like Shane, someone like John Bernthal, who played Shane for only 2 seasons, since The Walking Dead, since his time came to an end, he's went on to get a lot of large roles. He went on to, improve and become a bigger star than he was originally. And I think when you look at a lot of shows, sometimes the main character that is there from start to finish, sometimes when they have such a prolonged period in a show, you expect them to go on and do a lot after the show, and it sometimes doesn't always happen. So, I mean, maybe Maisie Williams has got a point, but she talked about how sometimes, she's only viewed as this tomboy character, the Arya Stark character, and she never really got a chance to show off other skills. And I get it. You look at Game of Thrones, and it's the fact that it's set back in God knows when, years ago. You're not really in the real world. You're not in the current world. So, I mean, I guess it is kind of more difficult to show off a certain range or a different style of acting if you're playing the one character that's maybe a little bit dimensional. She went on to speak about her new show though, which is called The New Look, and she said Todd Kessler, the show's creator, had never seen a single episode of Game of Thrones, so he just got to meet me as a 24-year-old woman and see a character like Catherine within me without having this tarnished view of me being kind of a scruffy boy. I really dig within myself to try and bring out something that I feel would be really useful. End of quote. So again, she's touching on the fact that maybe when other showrunners have came looking for an actress, they've looked at Maisie Williams and they've not maybe seen her able to perform other roles and maybe not seen her as a 24-year-old woman. Maybe they've just seen her as Arya Stark, you know, this scruffy tomboy kind of character that we got in Game of Thrones. I mean, and that's fine. I guess it's about 50-50. I can understand how maybe playing the one character on the one show for 10 years can have a negative effect, but at the same time, if she never played that character, then I don't think she'd be getting these roles. I don't think she'd be in contention. I don't think her name would be out there. Nobody would really know who she was. So I get it. It can be difficult, but I don't know. I've seen her speak a lot negatively about this, and I just don't really understand it. I think she should be a bit more grateful. I think Game of Thrones has allowed her this platform to build and grow on. And yeah, I mean, anytime you see Maisie Williams come out, she always seems to have like a negative thing to say about Game of Thrones, which is kind of disappointing. But anyway, that's it. Just wanted to make a quick video on Maisie Williams in this interview. I can see her point, and when you look at other main characters from other top shows, then maybe there's something to that. But nah, for me, I think that her career has been better with Game of Thrones than without it. Let's put it that way. Would Maisie Williams be in a better position right now if she never appeared on Game of Thrones? I highly doubt it. So let me know what you guys think down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Being Fog Entertainment. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and until next time, peace.